everybody. I'm Michael Maya Charles. It's a pleasure to join the wonderful World of Flying team with this issue, and I look forward to bringing you exciting and informative left seat checkouts in issues to come. To bring you the story of the Commander 114V, we traveled to Bethany, Oklahoma, home of Commander Aircraft, for a personal look at the company's manufacturing facilities. We spoke with Bill Betker, Commander's president, to get his thoughts about manufacturing, quality, and future plans for the company.
Our production facility here on the Wiley Post Airport is really quite large. We have the tooling in place that we acquired with the design rights from Rockwell to build up to 500 airplanes a year. And we think we have a facility now that we could very easily build 250 airplanes a year. We received the type certificate in May of '92 for the 114B. We've built a production facility, and we're producing new airplanes, so it's kind of exciting.
You know, Rod Machado, Bill Cox, and Barry Schiff all get to shoot their stories in warm Southern California. But today, we're in chilly Baltimore, Maryland, Martin State Airport, to evaluate a 1992 demonstrator graciously loaned to us by SkyTech Incorporated, Commander's dealer for the Washington area. This new Commander 114V is a natural evolution of the wide-body single produced from 1976 to 1979. It shares one of the toughest competitive markets in general aviation, with such singles as the Aerospatiale Trinidad, the Mooney MSC, Balanca Super Viking, and of course the perennial leader, Bonanza F-33A. First impressions of the new Commander prompt words like handsome, sturdy, substantial. This new version looks much sleeker too, in part because of the new cowling design. Commander eliminated the gaping cowl opening that supplied both intake and cooling air on the earlier version. The new cowl is tighter and smoother, with smaller intake openings. The landing light, mounted on the lower cowling of the old 114A, has been moved to the main gear legs like a Learjet. Future Commanders will also have additional landing lights in the leading edges, about 2 feet from the tips. The prop is now a 3-blade, 77-inch Macaulay Black Mac in place of the previous 2-blade Hartzell. The 3-blade version is quieter and optimized for additional thrust. Little has changed on the rear of the airplane. The trademark cruciform tail has been beefed up after earlier models experienced cracks in the vertical fin. You get the impression of the sides of this airplane when you walk under the tail on pre-flight. Though unlike a T-tail aircraft, you can still see and pre-flight the tail easily. Under the cowl, changes include a new stainless steel crossover exhaust system, which exits into a single pipe instead of the former dual exhausts. Individual magneto drives are installed in place of the former single drive. Dual vacuum pumps are also standard on the new Commander and are online constantly, greatly increasing your peace of mind when flying in the gunk. The 114B has an upgraded 28-volt electrical system with a capable 70-amp alternator, enough for all the options you can install. 2 large doors on either side of the aircraft make getting into the Commander easy, though I confess to walking up to the right side of the aircraft on the first time. I guess that's a hard habit to break from my days as a Bonanza owner. A baggage door is located on the right side of the fuselage, allowing the pilot to verify that it is closed before being seated. Max allowable baggage is 200 pounds. Once inside, the impression is one of luxury and quality. Gone is the tacky plastic and vinyl interior of the earlier 114. Knee room in the back seats is quite adequate for under 6-footers. Width of the cabin is listed as 47 inches. Up front, the instrument panel is completely new. A clean gray metal panel replaces the plastic overlay of previous 114s. All engine gauges have been replaced with smaller units, arranged in a vertical stack like a turbine aircraft. All are powered by transducers, meaning there are no wet lines behind the instrument panel. Lighting is a combination of internal and flood from the eyebrow of the instrument panel. A very professional job. Notice the location of the landing gear switch and lights. They are placed high on the top of the panel, where they ought to be, near a pilot's line of sight. A test button allows you to check bulb continuity in the event one gear fails to show down in green. A console located on the center of the lower panel has the mixture, prop, throttle, and cowl flap controls. Also, the console houses the trim wheel, located between the front seats. A yoke-mounted electric trim switch is also available. Rudder trim is a knob located near the pilot's right knee. Well, the start for this Commander 114B is real conventional Lycoming. That is, fuel pump on, run some fuel into the engine, mixture lean, and clear. Clear prop. Ground Commander 6007 Sierra, taxi from the ramp at the numbers.
007 Sierra, taxi to runway 14.
During taxi, the airplane feels solid without being ponderous. You sit high in the Commander. You can even see the spinner from normal seating position. The noise level is low due to the 5 layers of soundproofing installed at the factory. The overall impression is similar to what one might experience driving a luxury automobile, like a Lexus or a Lincoln.
On the run-up, again, very conventional Lycoming. We bring it up to 1800 RPM. We check the mags. Prop control. Yeah, we look at the alternate air. Temperatures and pressures are normal. We check the doors. And the doors do have a top latch, which you want to make sure is secured before takeoff. And the aux pumps run for takeoff. We'll put our lights and strobes on the roll. And Martin State Tower, Commander 6007 Sierra is ready for takeoff 14.
07 Sierra, clear for takeoff, no delay, traffic on our left base.
07 Sierra, got the traffic getting rolling.
On takeoff, the 260-horse Lycoming provides a nice kick in the pants. The vertical stack engine gauges makes the final check of power, pressures, and temperatures very easy. Many pilots new to the Commander have expressed a tendency to over-rotate on takeoff. But the way to avoid that is to begin holding slight back pressure at about 60 to 70 knots. As airflow increases the tail's effectiveness, it flies off quite nicely.
Got good visibility out of the airplane. At this 110 knot climb speed, you've got real good over the nose visibility. You sit real high in this airplane. You sit up a little bit higher than I'm used to in a Bonanza or a Piper Arrow or a Mooney.
The solid feel I experienced during taxi is still there. This airplane feels much heavier than one grossing at 3,250 pounds. Ailerons seem a bit heavy at first, but this results in an airplane that will stay right where you put it. Makes for a nice, stable instrument platform. Come to think of it, that's exactly what this airplane was designed for.
We're on climb out from the Martin State Airport. We're presently out of 5,000 feet, and we're holding a nice flat climb airspeed, 115 knots indicated, and we're showing about 500 to 700 feet a minute. So we've had a little bit of variance in the climb rate on the climb out here, with 3 people on board and about 50 gallons of fuel on board.
Now, after flying formation for an hour and a half, I found I was still comfortable in the well-designed leather seats. That speaks well for any airplane. The 114B is a real comfortable traveling cocoon. During our cruise checks, we consistently saw 155 to 160 knots. That's about 5 to 7 knots true airspeed, better than the flight manual predicted. These higher speeds may be due to the fact that a 1978 114 was used for the FAA-approved performance numbers. Several aerodynamic improvements have been made to the airplane since then. Commander is aware of this discrepancy and plans to refly the cruise numbers this spring, when their next round of aerodynamic changes are incorporated into production airplanes.
One thing the Commander does have, though, is high gear and flap speeds. The first flaps can come out at 151 knots, and the gear can come out at 130 knots. This really makes it easy to slow the airplane down in the traffic pattern. That final approach speed is about 80 to 90 knots indicated. Airplane sets up nice on approach. You get kind of a nose down attitude.
boy, that trailing link landing gear makes a real hero out of you. It takes minor misjudgments in the flare and turns them into something even your most critical passengers will applaud. The future for the 114B is full of optimism and hope. The company plans to produce about 25 airplanes per month through 1993. Commander also wants to introduce a turbo-normalized version of the 114B in 93, and they insist they can polish another 10 to 12 knots out of the airframe with some aerodynamic cleanup, mainly on the wings. Starting with serial number 73, scheduled for spring 93 delivery, the airplane will include the first round of these improvements, including flap and aileron gap seals, flap track fairings, and general airframe smoothing. This would further exemplify the commitment of Mr. Betker and his company to build, in his words, the best single-engine retractable in the world.
Well, thanks for watching today. I hope you'll be joining me on future editions of Wonderful World of Flying. And if there's a particular airplane that you'd like to see us fly, drop me a note at the editorial address on the back of this tape. Fly safe. We'll see you next time.